One of the slightly more head-scratching rumours I've heard as of late. Let's see how Danny Ings gets on at Man City. What's up guys, Joe here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're back with more FM and an FM experiment. Before we get into it, make sure you hit like and drop a sub on the video if you enjoy today. But Sky Sports and others are reporting that Man City are interested in signing Danny Ings as their replacement for Sergio Aguero. A bit of a shock to me, and I assume a shock to most people. Only one cap for England at the age of 28. He's had a lot of injury troubles, as we know, at Liverpool. Finding his feet at Southampton, really getting into some top goal scoring form. But Man City, really? Anyway, I've moved him over in-game, given him a bit of a wage boost as well. And you're wondering, maybe Sergio Aguero? Well, of course, Sergio Aguero is set to leave Man City this season, most likely. So I've chucked him back in the Argentinian Premier Division, back to the club he started his career at. So I think we'll try and monitor how Aguero gets on at Independiente as well, as part of this experiment. Anyway, no more faffing around. Let's take a look at how Ings has got on in his first season. So we've landed on the page of Danny Ings at June 2021. And first thing to note for me, 24 league games started and 5 sub appearances. To me, that says he is winning the inter-team kind of battle with Gabriel Jesus for that starting City spot up top. That is a bit of a surprise to me. I thought maybe Gabriel Jesus would kind of win the role over Ings slightly more often, but Ings, 29 total league appearances, 11 goals. It's not too bad, just under half a goal a game. He scored a few goals in the Champions League as well. Only 6 games played there though. So yeah, 7.11 average rating, 11 goals, 1 assist. It's not the greatest season, let's be real. Let's take a look at how City got on in the league. It looks like they have gone and won the league, okay, in quite convincing fashion as well. De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva with some great ratings, as you'd expect. And as we dive into the stats, the glasses, I'm afraid, are going to have to come on. But only the 4th top scorer in the team behind Gabriel Jesus, despite starting more games than the Brazilian. Okay, that is interesting. Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling as well, scoring more goals. In terms of average rating, he's not really near the top, but it's not bad. I guess an average season for Ings. Like I said, City winning the league. How did they do in the Champions League? They went out to RB Leipzig after a 5-1 loss away from home in the first knockout round. Not sure what happened there. They also won the FA Cup final. And it seems to me that Danny Ings did play 8.3, no goals for Ings, but a great performance in that final. Looking at his injuries as well, a few niggling injuries, a few 2 days, 3 days, 6 days, they add up, but luckily no major knee injuries, which is exactly what Ings has suffered of as of late at Liverpool. By the way, Aguero is absolutely killing it in Argentina. 15 goals in 12 games this season. June 2022 comes around then, Ings' second season at City, and straight away I can see 26 games started in the league, 6 sub appearances, 16 goals as well. Much higher than his XG this time around, so that 18 finishing really is coming into play. He's not getting into the best positions really consistently, but he is certainly scoring. That is a much better season for Danny Ings. And you can see, look at his City and Southampton records. In 2 seasons at both teams, he's played almost the same amount of games with the same amount of goals. Incredible stuff right there for Ings. He's now up to 17 caps as well and 3 goals for England. So really is now an England regular as well. Yeah, I am happy with Ings. I did not expect to see this type of performance, but City only finishing 4th in the league. Okay, so much worse off this season. Only 75 points. Pep still in charge despite that disappointment right there. And you can see Ings much closer to the top of the average ratings within the team. And he is the top scorer as well in all comps. And it seems City's kind of curse in the Champions League does continue this season, going out in the quarter-finals on away goals to PSG. Ings did get a goal in the first leg, but he also picked up an injury. Of course, they have really been a big part of his career, sadly, to this point. They couldn't defend the FA Cup either, losing to Liverpool at Anfield in the quarterfinals. So it must be said, a worse season for the team for sure this time around. But Gabriel Jesus has played much less. He's had a much less successful season this time around, and he is now transfer listed at City. Only 12 starts in the league and 5 goals, whereas Ings really has cemented his place in the starting 11. I am really surprised. That 17 work rate, Pep loves it. Pep absolutely loves it. I am checking also how England got on at the Euros. Ings was a part of this team. They did go out in the second rounds. I mean, Ings did come off the bench in that game. A loss to Germany. Classic, absolutely classic. But Ings was a part of this tournament. As far as I can see though, no goal scored sadly for Danny. And before getting into the next season, let's take a look at City's signings, because they did sign Richarlison ahead of this second season. He hasn't really played either. He's kind of shared Gabriel Jesus' minutes, and still Danny Ings holds off Richarlison as well as a striker. Let's go ahead to this season as well. Have they made any major signings? Alaba, Ward-Prowse, of course, former teammate of Danny Ings. We have Declan Rice as well from West Ham, so they really are strengthening in depth. Really great signings, but Ings still holds that forward spots. And again, really avoiding any major injuries this time around, almost for the entirety of the season. He was out for 2 days, and it was in that PSG game, the first leg of the Champions League. Ings is on fire right now. He's got a new contract as well, 160k. Let's see if he continues this form in his third season at City. This wasn't what I expected or what I hoped for. Ings has played more games for England in the last 12 months than he has for City. He's made 4 appearances off the bench in the league and not a single starting appearance. Danny, what happened? I assume no injuries because he is playing for England. He hasn't been injured. Oh man, this is a big hit. He was on fire. I mean, he scores a goal every other game in his second season. 7.41 average rating. And I can only assume that City have signed someone to replace him. Let's take a look. I mean, they've signed Pedro Luis from Flamengo, who is a striker. He has come off the bench a lot, but only 1 start. And I can't see any other strikers they've signed this season. What happens if we go back to the season? Okay, they have made 1 more signing in last year's transfer window officially. Obviously, that's at the end of last season, really ahead of season 3. Erling Haaland has been signed for City. 37 starts, 1 off the bench. You can see now why Ings has suddenly been put on the touchlines. 23 goals in 37 games, 7.77 average rating for Haaland. He does make the move from Dortmund to City. This is so ironic because Haaland is the man that Ings is kind of being put up against at the moment as City signing to replace Aguero. It's Haaland or Ings, and now they've got both, and clearly Haaland has taken Ings' job. It's a really big hit. I mean, he's come off the bench literally sporadically. He's hardly even making the bench. He's not even an unused substitute most of the time. Oh boy, Danny, what are you going to do? Surely we'll see him leave the club this season. By the way, Gabriel Jesus went to Hertha Berlin for 20 million basically. That's quite the signing for them. He is doing okay in the Bundesliga, and they did make quite a few sales as well in this season ahead of season 3. And it does mean City only second in the league, but only 1 point behind Liverpool, who have won it on this occasion. How have they done that? Let's see. It's pretty much their same squad, plus João Felix and Paulo Dybala. Okay, I can see why they've won the league. Quick check-up on Sergio. He's now listed by Independiente. I guess he's had enough of returning to his childhood club. He has torn it up, as you'd expect, slowly fading as the seasons go by. But could we see Sergio return to City? Let's see. But anyway, back to Danny. I hope he leaves City this season. He's on 160k per week, so he's probably enjoying himself, sat not even on the bench, sat at home, watching on the telly, raking in the money and training with the best players in the world. But Danny is 30 years old. He doesn't have too long left in his career. He needs to be playing football. I'm afraid to say it's another year of the same. June 2024 now. Ings is still at City, still on 160k per week. He has played a few more games this season, and he has started a game in the Champions League. Oh, you love to see it. He's finally started a game, but no goals bar 1 in the Premier League. I mean, it's a real shame. He'd finally found his feet at City, and he's just been put on the touchlines due to one man. City did win the league this time around. Haaland, Bernardo Silva, the top scorers in the league as well. Also, Mauricio Pochettino is now in charge. Meanwhile, Aguero has now gone to Boca, Independiente's rivals. I mean, fair enough, Sergio. Now down to 8 pace and, 8 acceleration, 7 pace, 7 stamina. Those physicals have tailed off somewhat now at the age of 35. But most importantly for me, Danny is now listed. He is on the transfer list and he's rumoured to be joining Leicester, Napoli, Real San Sebastian or Sevilla. Okay. And yeah, I'd love to see Ings move on and see how he gets on at a new team, because clearly it's not working for him at City. And yeah, he hasn't played for England in a year after really finding himself as one of the first names on the team sheet. One season on then, and I think it would have been unfair to leave Danny at Man City rotting in the reserves, and he has gone on to move to Leicester City. He has played an additional England game, I can see. He is playing some games, 14 starts, 12 off the bench as well. They're also in the Champions League, so a very capable Leicester City team this is. Let's see how much he went for. 26 million. I mean, at the age of 32, it's still a lot of money. His physicals are declining a little bit, as you would expect, but a solid season, it must be said, for Danny. Only 3 goals. I mean, in that respect, not solid, but at least he's playing some games. And looking at it, it seems that Moise Kean, I think, is really taking his spot up top. You can see why with those physicals this man has really developed. Leicester, 6th in the Premier League. It's not too bad, only just a few points away from the Champions League this season. Haaland, I noticed, still top scorer in the league, as bitter as it is to say that with this being an Ings experiment. But they did get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So Danny, I don't think he played in this tie versus Bayern Munich. They also played Man United in the FA Cup final. Ings did start, didn't score though. So it's good to see that Ings is finally playing some games again. I decided to go one more year ahead to see how a 33-year-old Danny Ings is getting on. And you can see we're now at West Ham United. And it's a recent transfer, is it? No, but I think he may have been injured. 2.8 million. That is not a great buy for Leicester. 26 million and they got 3 goals out of that money. That's almost 10 million per goal. So not the best value buy in their history. West Ham, 2.8, probably a little better value. But now looking at his physicals, Ings is really starting to tail off into his mid-30s now. And he has had a torn abdominal muscle. So a few injuries this season really have put pay to his chances of getting in this West Ham sides. And it does seem that Spaniard Niels Mortimer is the man to really take over that starting striker role. West Ham, by the way, 17th in the Premier League this season, as Haaland does miss out on the top goal scorer this season, it would seem. I did want to find the only goal that Danny scored this season. It is away to Derby County, the winner as well. In the first half, he scores against Derby. Let's see where they are. Are they a championship side? Yes, they are. And that is the final goal that Danny has scored in this experiment. So he had a few years at City, didn't he? But really, it did fall away quite quickly. By the way, Aguero now on loan at Leon. I think a Mexican side. Yes, I am correct on this occasion. 4 pace, 4 stamina, and 4 strength. Let's see. He has scored a few goals, not in recent years. But he did dominate Argentinian football for a little while. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this experiment. I really enjoyed seeing how Ings got on at City. And in his first few years, he really outperformed my expectations. He played 60 total games, 61 in the league, and scored almost 30 goals for City in his first few years. Really given the chance by Pep, but really it was a short-term fix. And I think if City can help it, they should be really going for one man up top. But guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you smash that like button. Really helps the channel out. We have a Nordsjælland save going on. I'm enjoying that series, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. We also are streaming over on my Twitch, so make sure you go and follow me over there. I'll see you guys in the next one.